What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another round 5 commentary with your boy Sparky. Victor's once again absent. He's on a little bit of a vacation, but we have more of me playing Blue Belcher against Merfolk and Tiffany. This is a fun little 4-0 match between the two of us, so let's see how it goes. I think I start off with a pretty decent hand here. I have a couple spells I can play, and then a very interesting line with some of these spells that I have. Tiffany, I believe, won the die roll, and she is on the play. And the commandeer in my hand is burning a hole in what I have going on. And this is why. Now, I don't know if I should have gotten rid of the Philology. So I don't know if I should have gotten rid of the Philology there. There've been a couple times where I've rethought about what I want, because I guess the other cards are a Tameshi, I have a Thunderclap Trainer, and then I believe it's a Lotus Bloom, and then a Suppression Ray. And then I just draw the Belcher like a G. But I think that play is high opportunity only if your Merfolk player has the Aether Vial. And it definitely, I think, stymies somewhat of what Tiffany's trying to do. But she's just dropping Silvergills, showing me Silvergills, so I don't think it's that bad of a play. Here, I'm just excited that I'm going to be able to find another land with the Thundertrap Trainer. And I wind up seeing another Suppression Ray, which is always good. I think it's mostly a bunch of Singing Stupors and a Whir of Invention. But I don't think I want the Whir. Oh, there's a Flare of Denial as well. Here, I think my mindset is just finding lands. I mean, I think just making my land drops and then eventually getting to a point where I can possibly land a Belcher and not die is where I want to be at. Tiff is sitting on Island and Mutavault. I don't think that's that threatening, but, like, I mean, my life total hasn't changed yet, but it against these Merfolk decks, they can just come out with a whole bunch of damage out of nowhere with a bunch of the Lords. Hexcatcher is one of the cards I don't necessarily want to see in the matchup, just because it counters all of my stuff with the payment of the creatures. And it also deals with the Lotus Bloom that's on suspend, which is a little bit worrisome. So we untap. I definitely add the counter in order to put the Tameshi in, which may or may not be a good play. I draw Disrupting Shoal for the turn. I think I was supposed to play the land there. Sink into Stupor. Only because it nets me more mana for every land drop I have. And I mean, here I don't think it much matters. But this is a whole bunch of damage coming my way. At least 9, cutting my life total in half and putting me on a turn clock. I don't think me not having the mana from the Sink into Stupor is going to matter, but we'll see what happens. Granted, this is me after a long week and trying to figure out exactly what my line of thought was and what the plays I wanted to make were. So I think I'm just taking 9 here. Like, there's no I'm not incentivized to. I mean, I guess I can block the Mutavault, take 6, go to 12, so it's not a 1 turn clock. If right, I'm always the villain. I think that block there is smart. Now, why I say this is like a bad play. So this is a little bit. This is where I wish I had the like. I kind of wish I had the Sing and a Stupor in play right now, just because like having that extra mana in certain instances is more beneficial because you're gonna get to like play it untapped. Like I would go down to 9 to add an extra blue after I've already picked it up. So that puts me on a 1 turn clock. Like I have to win this turn or I'm just dead. And I think here I'm doing this to pick up the Sink into Stupor to have a reactive spell. I'll just let past Sparky explain it. And I draw a Pact of Negation, like a G. I'm just gonna go through the motions here. You guys don't need me to explain that twice. This is where I'm sitting at a weird spot where like I could have had an extra blue, I could have been at 9 total mana, and then 2 more bounce backs put me at 11, 13. So I could have actually cast the Sing in a Stupor from my hand, depending on what spells Tiff had. So this line here actually gives me. I should have pitched any other 3 drop. So many negations. So now we're at this little standpoint where, I mean, I guess the floating mana doesn't really matter at the end of the game because, like, the writing's on the wall. I have 6 mana floating. Um, if she decides to sack the other 2 Merfolk, I can pay the white and then sack the Lotus Bloom and still Char Belcher. I think the fact that she had, like, Mana Leak on board with 2 other counter spells, I think the point of contention was to fight over the Lotus Bloom. Yeah, she already sacked one of them. And then take 40. And that's a game 1, ladies and gentlemen. Belcher taking down another aggro deck. Um, Don't forget to give back stuff you take. I think I think a lot of that worked out well because I kept the commandeer. Now commandeer is only like a one of in most of these decks, so I think it's relatively important that we have like a little bit of a sorry, like you have this like gamble that you're taking where you have the commandeer and like they have to have the vial. I think I'd rather gamble on that. I think somebody like Tiff who's pretty proficient at the deck's gonna like mulligan to a hand that plays vial on one and then just does the thing. Yeah, here I'm explaining that it's probably beneficial for her to sideboard out Harbinger of the Seas. But I believe I sideboarded here similarly to how I would sideboard against the Boros matchup, where I'm going to bring in like three Unable to Scream, a couple of Spell Snares, and some number of Mystical Disputes, because Mystical Dispute counters every card in her deck. But we shall see exactly how I did it. I didn't bring in any of the unfun stuff. Yeah, that's a good point that Jackson brings up off camera to fight over the Lotus Bloom. I wouldn't have had the pact because I drew the pact off the Tameshi, but I do believe that I would have at least had the Disrupting Shoal to stop it, and then she's got to play Flare of Denial, at which point I have. I don't think I have anything because I didn't play the Singing Stupor. So maybe she's just able to win. Maybe that's like the point of contention where you have to fight over the Lotus Bloom. And I think her just giving me the extra mana for the turn is what did it in. But it looks like she took out three Harbinger of the Seas. And I'm trying to see what else she's boarding out. I believe we talked after, and it was some number of like possibly like creatures she doesn't care about. I think it's the kicker Merfolk, whose name I'm not remembering right now. Oh god, she had four Harbingers in her main deck. So it's five cards. I think she brought in um, three or four tie binders and one extra card. I will check her deck list now. Yeah, she has four Harbinger, one Mockingbird, one Rishin Deckhand, two Sphaloon, four Tide Shaper. That's the kicker one I was thinking about. So I would assume. Oh, she brought in three Tishana's Tidebinder, two Consigned to Memory, which I think is pretty good. And I would sideboard out all. I mean, she's got a lot of cards she can sideboard out. I would sideboard out the four Harbinger of the Seas and the four Spreading Seas. That's eight cards. I would bring in one, two, three Tidebinders, two Chalice of the Void, two Consign. That's seven. And then I would bring in the Soul Guide Lantern against me. I don't think the Soul Guide Lantern is particularly good, but she does get to like cycle to draw if I have like a if I have a Lotus or if I have a Charbelcher in the graveyard, she can get rid of it, so I can't Tameshi. But I think that the Harbingers and the Spreading Seas in her deck aren't that good against me. Um, but we're going into game two with a hope and a prayer. I believe I kept a banger. It looks like I have one Lotus, and then a couple of tap lands. I see Suppression Ray and a couple other things. I think this is like a snap keep. Oh, and there's a Mystical Dispute, so I can just go like untap land Mystical Dispute. Tiff decides to ship it to 6. I think I just have like lands and spells. Looks pretty strong. This is the exact moment where I let her know that there was only one Commandeer and she got wrecked. Yeah. Well put, past Sparky. Now let's see if you just can make no mistakes this game. Spoiler alert. There's some mistakes. I don't remember if she goes below 6. I think she sees a keepable 6 here. Her choice for islands are stupendous. She's got the I think it's the Poseidon Islands from one of the sets. From the Assassin's Creed set, I believe it is. Oh, and she kept a consign in her opener. Did she put it to the bottom? I hope she didn't. I think keeping consign is important here. Island go. Drew the Belcher. Never didn't have it. Now if I can just remember my suspend triggers, everything will be amazing. So I think with Dispute, I want to be able to like counter something like that. Seagate Restoration off the top. Normally, the Merfolk like a little explanation to what's going on here. I played the way I played, one to conserve life total, and two because the Merfolk player is not always going to jam their Lord first. So I think disputing the Lord here, like playing a little slow, like playing my tap lands, like strategically is keeping my life total high in order to get me to the explosive turn where I can combo off. Unfortunately, post sideboard, I don't keep in the flares. I board out all 4 flares and the 3 pact negations. And for the 7 cards that I brought in, it was 1, 2, 3, unable to scream, 2 spell snare, and then the 2 mystical disputes. So this is a moment where I realized that like I don't think I probably should have played the Jwari Disruption because she has 3 mana up. She plays a 4th land. I'm kind of just boned. Yeah, this is where I realized that I should have just played it in order to keep like if I was gonna play a tap land, I should play a land that always is tapped. I shouldn't just play like one that can come into play untapped. And I mean, like I could right here. I believe that's a Sphalen. And we just went right to our draw step because we forgot to put the dice on top. Good job, Sparky. You're doing great. I think I realize it right about now. Yeah, I don't think this matters. Like I was planning on playing the Flagi anyway, and I'll be honest, I don't think there was like a mechanic to me not wanting that. Um, looking at these cards, I think Belcher, I have already. Putting one in the yard is not bad. I think I should be taking the Sinking Stupor. Or am I taking the Jawari Disruption because I want another 2 drop? I don't think she has 2 drop counter spells, so I think the 3 drop's more important if I have Disrupting Shoal in my hand, which I actually do not at the moment. I think this was bad too. Like, I just took 3 damage for no reason here, and then I realize it because Jawari Disruption doesn't do anything. Got a Mutavault. She could come just clanging in for 6, and then I'm just having a bad day. Looking at my hand, I see Seagate Restoration, Sink into Stupor. I have a Charbelcher. There's like I just need to get to a point where I can untap and try and resolve something. The main problem is there's a Jawari Disruption as well. I think I just block one, take it, move on. Now I put her to the test. Is she going to counter this? Is Tiffy going to suss out that your boy doesn't have any counter spells? Lotus Bloom resolves. Draw the card. What is it? Tameshi? No, it's another Jawari. This is where I'm like looking at my cards again. What do I want to put into play, tapped or untapped? I think if I put the Sigurd Stupor into play tapped, it's bad. I think I just do the Jawari. Or no, it's the Seagate. And then once again, I realized that I could have just put a normal one that comes in tapped, in tapped. I'm not gonna sit here and say this deck's easy to play. It is for sure not. But it's kind of smart when you sit and think about what needs to go where. Your opponent putting like pressure on you. Well, it's not a lot of pressure. I'm not like in single digits. I'm not dead, but it's obvious she's just trying to keep up 3 mana because there's a counter spell. Now I'm in single digits. Now things are probably going to be an issue. She has 4 cards. I think if this is a Tameshi, I think I'm okay. Tameshi off the top. From the top, make it pop. I think I take a long think about how much mana I have, what I can do, what's going to happen, and the good part about a lot of these like controlling decks and stuff like that, a lot of them don't have like hard counters for something like this. For me, I have a Jawari Disruption if she has like a 3 mana actual counterspell, which she cannot. Tashana's Tidebinder, amazing. But she can 100% stop my Tameshi. So, I know she's got Tiebinder. I know she's got certain cards. I make sure to state it out loud. So I do it this way with another white up so that I can retarget it again in case this happens. Now here's a weird. I do my best to try and figure out what the 3 cards are. If it's 4 cards, if it's Flare and Force of Negation, that's 3 of her cards. It's rough. Yeah, that's why I picked up a 3 cost. Because now she has to play a spell, and she has no mana open, and one of the Jawari Disruptions that I have in my hand actually has text. So she calls my bluff, and then I decide to show the force spike is there. So my stuff resolves, and then I draw the card for the Tameshi, which is something good. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna make 8 more mana going to 10, which isn't bad. I think I just make the 10 mana here. Six. The loop is every time you pick up a land, you're making 2 extra mana on top. I think until the third one, then you make 3. So I guess I make 11 total. I have Belcher with 1 more Jawari Disruption in hand. And that's it. She's just got 2 Merfolk, and it's over. Yep. Yeah, 100% Sparky. Well done. But again, I do feel like Belcher's one of the more popular decks in the format right now. I think it's doing a lot of good stuff. I think it's beating these decks that have been the bane of our existence for the last couple months in the energy decks. Belcher, I feel like, is probably one of the more unfair and like out of nowhere combo decks that's being played right now, but it's a lot of fun. Again, thank you for joining me this time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check the video description below if you're looking for deck lists. Find out our Mox field, and we will see you in the next one. Later.